Every time someone sees a piece of content or an ad or anything else from your clinic, then they're deciding within only a matter of seconds whether to continue watching or scroll past it. And we're trying to compete against everything else that there is out there on social media. But this is where the power of being hyperlocal, being in your market, can really make a big difference. In fact, such a big difference that we're going to use the 4S method to stop, stay, salivate, and send these strangers, build trust to get them into new patients. Because you can have the best clinic, you get the best results, but if nobody knows about you, then no one's ever going to come in. And this is where the power of locality really comes in. And it's something which I just stumbled across when I was searching on social media, and I used this in our clinic. And we filled a brand new clinic with 212 pre-booked, prepaid patients for opening day. Because I was a former marketing manager in these several successful clinics. In fact, we added on average over 100 new patients per clinic per month. And it works so well that now hundreds of clinics across the world just use the same format, and they're able to fill their books within weeks, and some even like days. And some clinics, even using this ad setup, which I'm about to show you, have been running the same ad for years and not even need to make one single change to it because it works so well in building trust. It works so well that Ryan, he got 48 new patients in his first month of doing this, and Katie, a self-confessed person who is not into running ads and not good with technology, she's getting new patients every single week with ease. And if you want my help actually implementing this in your clinic as well, then go to the link below in the description and you can fill it in, and I will show you how to do this within just 7 seconds into your clinic. So the thing that we want to do is we just want to grab people's attention. Otherwise we just become noise in the background, which nobody wants to do. And the way we should do that is through the 4 S's. So one of the key aspects which we need to know first of all is that trust is the only currency that converts a lead or a stranger into someone who trusts you. Let me put it on here so you can see. So trust is the only currency that will convert. And that's why local marketing is easy to build trust. Whereas most clinics go wrong with this because they don't establish trust, because they run like stock images or Canva templates and then blend in and go, why is no one looking at my ad? This is the exact reason why. This is where the 4 S's will overcome this. So the 4 S's, they are stop, stay, salivate, send. Let's go through them in order. So first, we want to get people to stop. Crucially, we want to get people to stop and build trust within the first 3 seconds. And there's a lot of psychological things going on in here. Let's break down psychologically then what we need to do so you can repeat this over and over again and you're not just tied to one thing. Because as someone is scrolling through social media, we want to break that scroll. We want to stop them as they're scrolling through. The way in which we can stop them, well, there's many ways, but one of the key ways which we can do this is show them something highly recognizable where it makes them crave the completion of understanding what is going on. By that, what I mean is you're going to use a local landmark. So that could be a shop, it could be a high street, a landmark, a monument, it could be a building, it could be a number of different things. But what people do is people would see that building. Let's say these are windows and there's a door. So they would see that and they would see you stood outside, apparently you're a giant, next to this big local landmark, or you're the big thing next to the landmark. But what people do is recognize that place as they're scrolling, because their newsfeed is filled with what they've had for breakfast, what their kids are doing, what their cat's doing. So this stops them in their scroll because they want to understand what is happening in here. That is how we're going to stop them. It's the familiarity, if I said that right, where people crave the completion to understand what is going on. That's how we stop. So then how do we get people to stay? How do we get them to stick around? Because we can get them to stop, but then people can scroll on pretty easily. With this, what we need to do is to stay relevant to what they are looking for. So we want the right people to be nodding their head. The way in which we do this is what I call moment marketing. With that, what we do is to market to a moment where they feel pain or they experience some sort of issue which you can help with. Let me explain this further. What a lot of clinics do is they basically stand on the street corner shouting a menu of all the different symptoms that they can help with, which does not work. Because they will say, hey, local area, we can help with back pain, neck pain, headaches, migraine, sciatica. But nobody ever comes into a clinic saying that they've got all these different issues going on. And if they do, then they're probably a really bad client that you don't want around anyway. Whereas moment marketing is where we market to that moment someone's experiencing something. So this is where this is crucial, that this will make you stay relevant and keep people engaged. Because we switch it to saying something like, if you struggle putting on your shoes without back pain, or you struggle to pick your kids up out the cot without back pain. Now, I actually learned about moment marketing from Ryan Serhant. You probably know him, the big YouTube guy, does house tours and stuff like that. But what he sells a house through is moments around the house, not the house in general. So people build the thoughts in their head of how their family would look, things like that, around the house. And that's what he sells. So he sells, as someone is going into the room, the moments that they would experience in there. In the kitchen, the family times and things like that. That's what we want to do. That's how we get people to stay, because this is what builds trust, because the trust is where people feel understood, and that's where we market to the moment, which helps people feel understood and builds trust that way. And it's the combination of these two things which make people salivate, being they want to know more on how you can help. Because a lot of clinics will end up in this race to the bottom of who can offer more for less, who can do an initial consultation for $7, but give people so many other things that go alongside it. We don't want to be a part of that race. The way in which we can salivate and not be part of that race is combining these two things. Because by combining the local landmark, which builds trust, the moment marketing, this helps someone feel understood. This is a crucial part of it. Once someone feels understood, they will travel further, they will seek you out, they will pay you more because they will put you on a pedestal because they feel like you understand them. That is how you can separate yourself from everyone else running these discount initial consultations and anything else going on, because we want people to feel like you really get them. By doing that, that is when they will be salivating. That is when they will be wanting to experience what you have, because they have been in this pain for however long that we want them to want to come into you and not be price shopping. That's how we can achieve that. And then simply the final step is to send them to the area that we want them to go. Give them a direction, because again, most of the time people don't actually tell them where to go and aren't clear on what the next steps actually look like. So just give them a call to action. Tell them where they're going to go. Tell them what's going to happen next. Tell them about the whole customer journey. And this can come into your whole marketing picture, because this actually represents part of a bigger process. We can't just do these four and expect somebody to come in. These all make up one part of an entire marketing process. Because none of this really matters unless you've got the right system to be able to get in front of the right people more often in the right way. And also, especially, without needing to rely on a marketing agency when you're constantly worried about the new invoice coming in and whether you're actually going to make money from your initial consultations, because once you factor in the agency fees, nothing actually adds up economically. So let me show you how to do that in this video here.